What's up, YouTube? Knight's Edge here again. Got another little quick review for you of a pretty cool little knife. This one was loaned to me by Lanyard Man, aka Stephen Weigel. Big shout out to him, and of course Dominic. And really appreciate it's viewers like him that really helped me keep the channel going by letting me borrow such really awesome knives that I otherwise definitely couldn't afford to look at all the time. So big shout out to him. I did start a Patreon maybe a couple weeks ago or something as of the time of this video posting anyway. So if you're interested in helping give back to the channel, join the Patreon. It'd be much appreciated. I have a few little extras on Patreon. I try to do like an update, channel update, overview, a little extra video, something like that. So that is linked down below if you're interested. If not, that's fine too. Also have affiliate links down below if you're interested in buying a lot of the cool knives you see on here, but there are a lot of them that aren't linked. So just a heads up, if you use an affiliate link, it does help me out. I do get a small cut of that. Not, I think maybe 5%, something like that. I don't know, but yeah, affiliate links down below and Patreon link down below. So now that that's out the way, let's take a look at this one. This is a really super cool knife, I thought, a Vero Neuron, it's called. And I think this is actually the second iteration of it. There's been one other one. I think this is the second version of it. This is actually the lefty because Stephen Weigel's a lefty. But I can't really, other than the position of the pocket clip, can't really tell. Now, one interesting thing about this knife, it is called the double detent knife because it's essentially there's no lock on it, right? So it's locked in by the detent ball. So it's got a detent ball there. Once you clear that, it is riding down, and what holds it in is another detent ball. So essentially, in a way, kind of like a slip joint, I guess you could say, but it has two detent balls instead. It's riding on cage ceramic bearings. So pretty neat little knife. We'll go ahead and get the specs out of the way. Let me get the tape measure here. Pull a measurement on it from the tip of the blade all the way to the end of the handle. Not particularly a huge knife at all. You're looking at right at 6 3/8 right there on overall length. Blade length right at 2 7/8, and cutting edge looking right at 2 3/4 on the cutting edge. That sheep's foot blade. Get a blade stock thickness measurement here. Make sure these are zeroed. All right, thickest part of the spine, you're looking at 100 and right around 123 thousandths on the belly. On the edge, looking right at 20 thousandths, 20 and a half thousandths there. And handle thickness, just under half an inch. So fairly decently slicey blade and not too thick or too thin of a handle, kind of right in that normal knife zone, I guess you would say. All right, do size comparisons here. This will give you a good idea what you're looking at. So definitely what we can see is a smaller knife there. That's your Spyderco Paramilitary 2 and your Spyderco Para 3. So definitely a lot closer to the size of the Para 3, but still the Para 3 is definitely bigger than this one. Ontario Knives Rat Model 1, Ontario Knives Rat Model 2. Definitely closer to the Rat 2. About the same cutting edge, although with that upsweep, the Rat 2 is kind of, I think, maybe even got it beat a little bit with cutting edge. Rat 1's most definitely got it beat. Cold Steel 8010, way bigger. And the Demco Knives 8020.5, still much bigger. Although when you're looking at cutting edge, not really too much under the 8020.5, right? Not an especially thick or thin knife. It is a little bit thicker Well, put them up side to side here. Right about the same, I guess, as the Rat 1. So that gives you a little bit of an idea there. Let me do one more size comparison while I'm thinking about it. Should have had this one out and ready to go, being as how we're dealing with a smaller knife here. I can find it. Thing's hiding out somewhere. Oh, we got the Cold Steel Mini Tough Light. I was trying to find the baby banner, but I couldn't find it. So here's the Cold Steel Mini Tough Light. You know, as you can see, it is a little bit bigger than that one. Put that up. I was trying to find a kind of like an extra small knife just to do like a little bit of a size comparison there. All right, let's get out the scale. This is titanium, milled a little bit. So I don't know. I'm thinking, I don't know, probably right around 3 ounces would be my guess. Probably way off on that. 2.8, not too far off. 2.8. All right, so 2.8 ounces. Right at the mark for the ounce and inch ratio. If you subscribe to that rule, blade to handle ratio, or ounce to inch ratio. So if you're looking at it in pocket, that's about what you're looking at carrying it. And the blue jeans there, not too much sticking out, not a deep carry clip by any means. It's a milled titanium clip. It's a really nice clip. Same clip as on the Axon that I've got. I don't mind Vero's clip at all. I'm actually a pretty big fan of their clips. You know, I like it. They look good. So what else? Oh, hardware check. I'm gonna go ahead and do hardware check. Not too much hardware to check, if you notice. So this is a T8. All right, T8 on the body screw. And I actually loosen up a little bit. T8 on the pivot screw and a captive pivot. So that's awesome, right? Very minimal hardware on this thing. And you've got that bolster that goes all the way through to the clip right there. So nothing exposed. Actually, nothing exposed on this side. So that's a good thing. Your screw for this is set internally. And you have one screw there and the pivot itself right there. So pretty awesome, you know, with hardware wise. I would definitely give it an A+, especially being as how it's got a captive pivot. So as far as specs and everything, that's pretty much it. Overall, man, I think this is a pretty neat little knife. Now, I would prefer my knives larger. You know, I prefer a larger carry. And I really don't like, I don't like to carry slip joints too much. I prefer a locking knife. You know, one of my issues here is, you know, if I'm like right now, I'm not putting hardly any pressure on it, you know, but it will close, right? Because the only thing that's keeping this open is that detent ball that's in there. It's got that one detent ball. Once it clears that, it's closing. It's riding on ceramic cage bearings, by the way, and it's got the other detent ball, which whenever you reach that point right there, from kind of flopping around. So, you know, if you're 100% doing, you know, pressure on something, cuts like that, you know, you definitely got to watch putting any kind of pressure on here, you know, which is why I'm glad they did a little jump in here, but you definitely don't want to be pushing against this too much because, you know, even if you are cutting something, the more you're pushing on this, there's a chance of closing right there on your finger. So you got to watch that for sure. It's a beautiful design. They did, I think I might have mentioned earlier when I was talking about the weight, but they did mill it out. You know, it's got holes drilled in there. So they did mill it out a little bit to make it kind of lighter. I think it's really cool, you know, despite it being, no lock, you know, you can flip it like that. You can do the reach over. Well, most of the time I can do the reach over kind of like that. You can front flip it. Well, most of the time I can front flip it. You can front flip it like that, reverse flick, open like that, no problem. You know, you can use the fuller, the classic Vero fuller, kind of rectangular cutout there to open it with, no issues there. You know, really cool. I really like this blade shape. Me personally, I would, if I was in the market for one, I would prefer one with a lock. You know, that's a downside for me is it doesn't have a lock. You know, I know that's the double detent knife. That's what it is, right? So it's definitely designed, you know, there's no malfunction. That's how they made it. And it is more accessible to people in various countries and maybe states that have laws, you know, against locking knives like that. And I think it's more geared towards like overseas, like in Europe, where you know, locking knives are more frowned upon than they are here. It is a fidgety little guy, you know, you just got to be careful with it because it's got no lock, right? So you can flip it open, flip it closed, flip it open, flip it closed all day long, you know, no issues there. In hand, it's pretty comfortable. I can get almost, well, if I go all the way up to here, right, with my thumb still on the handle without crossing this imaginary threshold, because once you cross that and you're pushing down, if you don't have resistance, it starts to do that, right? So definitely keep that in mind. Really nice, really slicey blade. This is M390. Really nice finish. It looks really good to me. But right about right there is where I wouldn't want to go past, right? And even there, it's still, you can see it kind of wanting to do that, right? So definitely, you know, something to keep in mind. And definitely people that are more used to handling non-locking or slip joints or something like that will be less susceptible, you know, less likely to do what I keep accidentally doing, I'm sure, you know. So I'm not trying to sit here and down on this thing, you know, over and over again because of that. But it's just something that, you know, if you're looking at it, definitely something to have in mind. You know, nothing on the back here. You know, that's another thing to remember. So you've got nothing kind of in the way of keeping trash or debris, pocket, you know, gunk, whatever, out of the bearings. And it does run pretty smooth. You know, it's not exactly drop shut, but you can kind of shake it shut like that. So it is really fun to kind of play with and fidget with. I wouldn't do any at all like hardcore cutting with this thing, you know. I wouldn't trust it for that, but just like small little things, you know, especially something you're not have a lot of resistance with, you know, because you don't want to be cutting something and accidentally have your thumb pass that, you know, kind of threshold and it push, you know, that close. That's something you definitely don't want. It's got a little sharpening choil. That's good. At M390 on the steel, no issues there. Definitely premium materials with the titanium and M390. Well designed, good aesthetic lines. I like that, you know, symmetry on it. As far as choke back, which is kind of where you want to be at with this, I can get it a little over a 3-finger. You know, my pinky's kind of fluttering around right there with wanting to grab the end of it. But yeah, I definitely can't get a full grip on it for sure. Well, I mean, I can, but if I get a full grip on it, that's where my thumb's going, and it's definitely wanting to push it forward. So definitely something to keep in mind. You know, not a bad looking knife and very well put together. Just you know, for me, not really my cup of tea, but a lot of people would love something like this, I'm sure. And there's a lot of reasons, a lot, you know, that I'm not experienced with. So tell me what you think about it down in the comments. It'd be much appreciated. Um, really appreciate everybody watching. If you like the content, if you like listening to me ramble about knives and pretend like I know what I'm talking about, hey, hit the subscribe button because there's definitely more coming. And I'll see you guys on the next one.